What if I told you that the closest person to you might just be the same one that tries to rob you of your abundance, your dreams, your goals, and everything you've been working for? I'll tell you a story about what happened to me. It happened to me actually a couple times, but I'll tell you about one particular time. This is the late 1990s, and I had a discount healthcare company that I owned. And a discount healthcare company is a company that allows you to pay a discounted amount at the doctor versus having insurance. These people could not afford a monthly insurance payment, but they could afford a discount healthcare plan so that they may be spending 60 to 70 bucks a month on the plan, and then the doctor has an approved price list for cash pay, which gives them a significant discount because they're paying by cash. And so this was a way for them to kind of have healthcare, but not really have healthcare. Make it more affordable to go to the doctor. And this company was old school marketing, obviously, because this is pre-internet. And my marketing, was primarily just word of mouth at the time, doing some classified ads. I hadn't really blown up yet, but I could see where it can go and generate some significant income. My next door neighbor just happened to be an exchange student from Arabia. Now, this kid was already rich or wealthy because his father was a prince in Arabia, in the Middle East. And so he didn't want to rely on his father's wealth. He wanted to kind of make his own way in the world. So that's why he came over to America to do these courses at the university as an exchange student. And he had to do an internship. And he asked me if he can do the internship with my company to build a website. I said, sure, absolutely. I just learned what this .com thing was, and I was very interested in it. And so he used this program called Front Page 98. And he, got gone on his computer, and I came over with him, and I was walking through everything that I wanted to have in this website. And over the course of maybe 2.5, 3 weeks, he built this website. And it was for my discount healthcare plan. After the website was complete, I got a list from AOL. Back then it was so cheap and so easy. It was a $50 email membership club. I don't think it had more than 30,000 people in the email list, but I emailed 30,000 people. It only cost me $50 for that month to be able to contact those people. And this is back when people wanted to get email. They were like, you got mail, I got some mail. So I sent that email out, that marketing campaign out, and I got about 3,000 or 4,000 signups within that weekend. And it was incredible to see that kind of result off of, that kind of marketing. First time I've seen anything like it in my life. It was like major. I knew that this was the next big thing. And so I said to him, man, how can we continue to build and work together? He said, I have to go back. So he went back to the Middle East, but he said, you saw what I did, you can duplicate it. I said, yes, I can. So I went to Rent a Center, which was the local place in the neighborhood where you can go rent furniture, and also now you can rent for the first time computers. They were Packard Bells. I think Hewlett Packard probably is a result of the Packard Bell original company. I'm not sure how that merger went or how it became Hewlett Packard, but I could be wrong, but I think they have something to do with it. But anyway, it was a Packard Bell 2 gigabyte hard drive computer with a big giant CRT screen. It was $19.95 a week. So I went and got that computer. I didn't know how to do the coding. So I went to the bookstore and I learned HTML, C++, JavaScript, PHP, and ASP scripts. Those are the 5 languages that I learned how to program in. So I would then go back and I would start programming, writing the software on the computer, and I would start making websites. Initially, I was making them just for learning purposes, right? And one day a friend of mine came to the house and he had a mortgage company, and he said, oh my goodness, this is incredible. How much would it cost to make one of those for me? And that's when all the bells and whistles went off in my head. That's exactly what I was doing this for. I was trying to do this to learn how to generate money selling these websites. And so I started working with him. I created a mortgage website template Now, seeing as that there were no mortgage company websites in existence, he would be one of the very first. And so what I did was I made a template out of his site to where all I had to do was change the background color, change the font, change the logo, and change some of the services around, and change where the contact form data was sent. It was pretty simple and pretty easy. And I saw how I can do this on my own, all by myself, with no staff. So once I got his done and he was happy, then I started to literally just call from the yellow pages. We used to have this book back in the day called the Yellow Pages. And in that yellow page were all the businesses within a certain region that you lived in, okay? Page by page by page. And if you had a little bit of money as a business, you can actually pay for a standout ad within the yellow pages. You can bold your name. You can buy a quarter page, half page, full page, if you really wanted to market yourself. So that's where everything was going on back then. It was in the pages. So I started calling from the yellow pages, all mortgage companies, and I started to set my own appointment. So I would call them, pitch them, set an appointment, go out on the appointment, sell the website, come back home, build a website, and do it again. Just over and over and over again. I got myself up to about $10,000 a week doing this. Now in the 90s, $10,000 a week, $40,000 a month was phenomenal money, especially since I had no staff. No staff. My only expenses were the cost of the domain name, the cost of the DNS servers, the cost of the web hosting server, which was dirt cheap. I used to use HostGator for like $9.95 a month. They didn't require a lot of bandwidth back then, so it was very cheap. And that was it. The email came with it for free. So it didn't cost a lot of money. Overhead was very, very small. And I was able to consistently earn about $10,000 to $12,000 every single week doing this. Now, before it got to that point, here's where the hate came in. As I was learning, how I could make money doing this, this new venture called websites, internet marketing, the person that I was with at the time did not like the fact that I had stopped doing what I was doing previously, which was paying all the bills, to move into something totally new and totally, unknown, according to that person, completely unknown, right? Kind of like going from something solid and stable to something unknown. There's a risk there. Yes, there's a risk. I agree there is a risk, but there's a calculated risk. I knew the potential of what this industry could bring financially. I sensed it in my gut. I just knew it was the next big thing. And so the person that I was with every single day was literally nagging and attacking and attacking and nagging, and it was nonstop, just putting me down and telling me this wasn't going to work, and you're risking everything for this, and you're wasting everything, and it's all going to collapse, and we're going to be homeless, and blah 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 blah. Marketing, which was my marketing company, my old school marketing, which was street marketing, flyers on cars, flyers on people's doors, posters on the streets, on light posts. I mean, this is old school marketing, classified ads around the United States. You gotta hope somebody actually gets one of those periodicals and reads them and goes to the classified sections to even see what's in there. It was hit or miss. And then some of it was also buying remnant space on late night TV. Okay. So it was a combination of all those things. And that would have been the path that I went down. That's the old school path, which obviously was at the very beginning stages of being phased out by something called the internet. And I saw it, I knew it, I felt it. I knew that the trajectory that I was on with what I was doing and the way I was doing it wasn't long term. It was going to come to an end because of this internet, especially after me deep diving into it with my guy for a couple of weeks, and then me getting on it myself. I tried to explain it. I tried to break it down. I tried everything I could, but she just couldn't see it. And instead of being there for support, instead of being there for, to uplift me and to be a cheerleader and pump me up, she decided to pump me down. She decided to berate me and you know, and just make threats of leaving and all these kind of things. But I had a decision to make. It really opened up some eyes in my head, in my mind. It opened up my third eye and let me see truly where this person was and how much faith they even had in me. And I made a tough decision to say, I'm going to stick to this no matter what, which is exactly what I did. I didn't let the outside chatter. I didn't let someone who was a big doubter and living in fear and fight and flight mindset to come and yank my dreams away from me. It wasn't like we were struggling and homeless on the streets, okay? It wasn't like we were, you know, living from check to check. Did things get tight here or there? Yeah. We were in a brand new community, in a brand new apartment, brand new car, you know, and things were not that bad. And we had food in the refrigerator and everything else. So there was, in my mind, there was no real reason to come with all of this every single minute, every single day. I realized I had a tough decision to make. If I stay on this path, I might lose this person. But if I don't stay on this path, I might lose my dreams, my goals, my abundance dream that I have for myself, and also building a legacy. I just saw a vision there of what this thing can do. And also, like I said, it opened up my eyes to what kind of person I was really dealing with, a person that really isn't there for support. So I made the judgment call, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna fulfill my personal dreams, goals, wishes. I'm going to follow my passion. I had become really passionate about this angle of marketing, and I'm gonna stick to it. No matter who comes at me, no matter who says what, I don't care who it is, I am gonna do me. I'm gonna stay in my lane, I'm gonna make this happen. So obviously that situation kind of didn't work out fully. And it wasn't a really bad outing. It was more of a mutual. We kind of just grew apart, you know, and which was okay. We had been together since very young, so it was okay. We only got married because we got pregnant. She got pregnant, so. But it worked out in that she went to go on and live her life, and I went to go on and continue to follow my dreams. And that was 1997 when I started. By 1998, that is when it, you know, began to fall apart. By 2004, I had built that into a multi-million-dollar company. I was one of the very first .coms to do very, very well, especially in e-commerce and web development. Did very well. I started garnering attention from other companies that were publicly traded that wanted to acquire me. And I garnered attention from a company named Globench Systems. Globench Systems was run by a gentleman who was retired, who then wanted to get into a way of generating passive income by buying bus benches throughout the city and putting LCD screens as the back of the bench to run ads on them. It was a great idea, a great concept. It really was. The only problem with that concept and that idea is that when you have an idea like that and a concept like that, it's only so long before people want to steal the technology from the bus benches. But before that happened, he had gone public. He had made it to the pink sheets. He was on the OTC platform trading shares and doing very well, actually. But what he needed to get to the next level was he needed a cash-rich company to acquire to add to the bottom line so he can move to the next level. And I presented all those qualities. So we had a great meeting. I never forget that meeting that I had with him. That was on Palmetto Park Road, just east of 95 at the Denny's on the left-hand side, on the north side of the street. I met with him there, had a great conversation with him. That conversation led to an acquisition, which press releases and everything else went out. And initially it was a great deal, you know, and then eventually the whole thing got sold to Amber Alert. So I walked away with, you know, a decent amount of money, millions of dollars. And that allowed me to do something that most dads would have never been able to do. I spent the next 8 years basically with my kids. What if I told you that your life isn't responding to your hard work? It's responding to your vibration. You should write down 3 things high vibrational affirmations that you will repeat to yourself every single day, at least 3. Things like, I am peace, I am abundance, and I am joy. And repeat those things 3 times a day. A lot of people are operating in this mind state of fear, anxiousness, doubt. All those are low vibrations. You might wake up feeling, okay, I'm ready to take on the day. And then when the day starts, you instantly become anxious, fearful, doubtful. These are the reasons why you might not be manifesting your best life or your best reality. Because you're not the best version of yourself in that moment. And this is something that we all do without even realizing it. What you should do really is you should begin to set a timer on your device, right? Your tablet or your phone, your watch, whatever you use. Set a timer. 3 different intervals throughout the day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And when that timer goes off, I want you to do a self check-in. Let's see where you are spiritually, emotionally. Check into your emotions, your feelings, your gut, right? Are you in fear? Are you in fight or flight? Are you in frustration or anger? At that exact moment when that alarm goes off, what emotional state are you in? What vibrational state are you in at the moment that the alarm goes off? And I want you to pay attention to where you feel that emotion in the body. Are you high vibrational? Where do you feel that? Are you in a state of fear, fight or flight, anxious, frustration, depression, guilt, whatever that might be? And where do you feel that in the body? Pay attention to your body and begin to pay attention to your brain-heart coherence so that you can correct yourself, so that you can pull yourself out of these low frequency vibrations. A lot of people are wanting to vibrate higher, but not actively working on vibrating higher. Working on correcting your frequency is an actual task, a job. It's a lifestyle. It's not something that happens overnight. If someone can tell you that, today I was this way and tomorrow I was just completely the opposite and never went back again, then they are lying to you. Okay? They are lying. Even I fall backwards from time to time, looking to recorrect myself and get back on track and get my vibration up. It's just a natural state of being as a human being on this planet. We have these, situations that arise that might blindside us or stun us or whatever. And it could get us into a frustrated, angry, fearful, depressed state of mind. It's just natural. So don't beat yourself up too much about it. Just acknowledge that this happens and work on how you can rapidly correct these things when they begin to happen, okay? Knowing that these things happen doesn't allow us to, or give us the excuse to, dwell in them when they happen or allow them to completely take us over. It's just a notification or the understanding that these things can happen, but we should always be working to correct these frequencies and vibrations. And it's not that you want to ignore what's happened to you. You don't want to ignore the trauma, the drama, or whatever it is that puts you in that mind state. What you want to do is actually acknowledge it. You want to process it. You want to process it out of your body so that it doesn't just stay hidden in there and become dis-ease. If you just ignore things and act like they never happened, that's not right either. And that dis-ease eventually becomes disease, and then you'll be pushing up daisies, okay? So it's not that you're ignoring them and discarding them, it's that you are acknowledging, okay, this happened to me, so-and-so did this to me, this is what happened. And you relive it, for a short period of time in your mind, reprocess it, and just let it flow out of the body. So it's just, I release this pain of this trauma, just release it, okay? And when you begin to do that, now you're actually facing these things instead of hiding them somewhere in the body, because they hide in the body. And once you process them out of the body, out of your consciousness, and now you can shift your energy a lot easier back into a positive vibration. So now when I'm not feeling that good and someone just happens to ask me that question at the same time that I'm not feeling good, I say, I'm doing phenomenal, except for I am working through a couple things right now because I want to be honest with myself. I want to be honest with the people I'm interacting with. I don't want to be a worrier or a crybaby or a complainer or a victim, but I also want to acknowledge that there are a couple things that might be on my plate that I'm working through at this moment. So give me a little bit of grace, okay? Sometimes communication is really key with the people around you when you're trying to get back on a high frequency, and they may not understand what you may be going through. It could be the lack of communication to where they're judging you in a way that's getting you even more angry, frustrated, pissed off, or whatever. So we have to do a better job communicating as well. One of the things that's also good is to write down and do some journaling as to what your dreams were about, what you plan on doing today, what happened to you, throughout the day. Notice the positives and the negatives, and realize and recognize the things that happened to you that were positive. It could have been something as simple as walking, through through a corridor and seeing a nice plant. I mean, it can literally be anything. Going outside for 15 minutes to collect some sunlight, whatever it is for you. Just write those things down. Moments where you were able to capture and feel a certain level of peace and tranquility, and be present in the moment. Write those things down, because those are going to be key anchors for you to get back to that state, to that frequency, by remembering these situations as they occur. Maybe even opening up your notepad and reading them again to yourself. So to remind yourself that you did stop and smell the roses, that you were present, that you had some peace, and you do have peace in your life from time to time, and to get back to that tranquility mindset, which is really the abundance mindset. When you begin to recognize that there are things that are going to come to try to throw you off, especially unexpectedly, you will then be able to handle those things a lot better and easier when they do show up, because you won't be in panic mode. You won't be frantic and chaotic. You will have expected these things to happen. And because you've expected them to happen, you're now prepared to deal with them and work on the solutions to these situations. Okay? And so when you get to that mindset, when you get to that vibration, things really begin to transform, because now you're in a mindset of problem solving and not victimhood. The victimhood mindset will only put you in a situation where you can get attention from people. You get oohs, ahs, and oh, poor babies, and so forth, but you just can't seem to get over the hump. But the other option is to be able to root and ground yourself and understand exactly what's going on, where you're coming from, and how you're going to process through these situations, right? And if you don't have anyone around you that can support you in the way that you need to be supported, that can understand you and see you without trying to fix everything for you, and allow you to go through your process, but just be there as a supportive person, then you need to join the Forbidden Knowledge Academy. I created that 4BK Academy so that people can actually have a place to go and to be supported, uplifted, and assisted, and held accountable as well, and for themselves and for their missions and their goals and the things that they may be processing in their lives. Be there for support, be there to see you and see you for who you truly are. And it's just a great thing to be around people like that, to be able to be supported like that, loved like that. Because a lot of people are living in a place where when they look around, they just don't have that kind of support consistently around them. The people around them might not even understand them at all. And so the Forbidden Knowledge Academy is a place where you can go and you can be around like-minded individuals that are on the same frequency. There to support and uplift you, okay? And once you stay rooted and grounded in working on your healing, working on addressing the trauma, working on processing it through your thought process in your body, facing those dark moments and standing to rise above them, and putting yourself back in a high vibrational frequency so that you can continue to grow, expand, learn, and build legacy. That's really where it's at. And this all requires you to shift your frequency so that you can shift your reality. If you don't shift your frequency, your reality will stay the same. Right now, a lot of people are living on 10, 20, 30 year reality tunnels that have been pretty much consistent the whole time, haven't shifted too much out of the norm. I've been on that steady vibration of monotony and stagnation. And to get out of that, you have to shift your frequency. It's not that you're changing who you are, it's that you're becoming the best version of yourself. And when you can become the best version of yourself, when you can recognize your own faults, your own setbacks, right, your own shortcomings, and you can then begin to address and work on those wholeheartedly by bringing awareness first and foremost to the situation, and then bringing solutions second behind that to the situation,